Welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino beer review. You have the Rhino. You have a beer. Thank you very much, Tanya, for picking this beer up for me. It's from Five Paddles. I lost my contact that went from Niagara to Whitby on a regular basis, so I lost the ability to get Five Paddle beers. And Five Paddles, I think, is one of the most innovative, creative breweries out there right now, so I love to get my hands on their stuff. So thank you very much for bringing this to me. This bottle of beer is a few of my favorite things. And this is, as it says, a bourbon-soaked cherry vanilla stout. So I love stouts, I love bourbon, I love vanilla, I should love this. We're looking at 7% alcohol by volume. This is part of their 6th paddle series, which is when they bring home brewers in to brew with them. Why have I not been asked to do a 6th paddle series with you guys? Fuck you guys! Bourbon soaked cherry vanilla stout. Here is the only thing I'm going to say about that. Now, when you put bourbon on your bottle, you know what that means, right? It means you are using a whiskey from Kentucky. That's all it means. Here's a saying. All cognac is brandy, not all brandy is cognac. Cognac is brandy made in Cognac, France. Hence the reason it's cognac. Champagne is just a sparkling wine made in Champagne. But anyway, thinking about that saying, all cognac is brandy, not all brandy is cognac. The same thing can go for bourbon. All bourbon is whiskey, not all whiskey is bourbon. Say like Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. The main difference between the two? One's in Kentucky, one's in Tennessee. One's considered sour mash whiskey, one's considered bourbon. The way of making them, pretty close to the same. Definition, not the same. So, brewers, just remember that too. It's not bourbon unless it's in Kentucky. Unless the rules have changed. It's like taking a Canadian brandy and saying this is cognac, or a Canadian whiskey and saying this is Scotch, or because Scotch has to be made in Scotland. That's my rant for the day. Let's drink it. Let's open the beer. Let's open the beer. I'm not saying that they did that. I'm just saying just for everybody to remember. Ooh, I should open that on camera. There's so much smoke, it's not even funny. Let's drink, or let's pour the beer. Now we are using the Five Paddles Respect the Paddle glass, and just like always, I'm going to do the same thing. Get a fucking glass that fits your beers. If you're going to be selling your beers in a bomber, which you do, get bigger than a pint glass. Do an oversized glass, because your bottles and your glasses don't fit. That's all. That's all. Again, I just like to poke fun at you guys. Anyway, beautiful looking beer. Black, beautiful black beer. That head looks great. Look at the bubbles in that. Look at the gaping holes that it's creating. That is a beautiful brown head. Oh, it's just such a nice thing to look at. It's a nice thing to behold. Visual appeal on this beer, A+. Now, using cherries, I thought I'd get a few pink hues in the head, and I didn't. But again, that's okay. You know what? I've had a few cherry stouts in the last few days, actually. I had the Bell's Cherry Stout. I had, Oh, what was the other one? I can't even remember. It's on this camera right now, the other cherry stout I did. But I've had a few cherry stouts in the last few days. And this one is the first one that actually smells the part. It smells like a cherry blossom. Any of you guys eat cherry blossoms? The chocolate covered cherries, and it smells like that. A beautiful sweet cherry scent with some chocolate, a little bit of caramel. Oh, the cherry comes off both sweet and bitter. It's a beautiful scent. Oh, man, does that smell good. This is why I love to drink beer. Well, craft beer at that. Macro beer, you can drink macro beer if you like to. I'm not going to fault it on you. But all macro beers, for the most part, smell the same. Yeah, I'm stereotyping. I'm generalizing. Because there are some that don't. But for the most part, they all smell generally the same because they're all trying to do the same thing. Which is taste like water and get you drunk. Craft beer is all about experimentation. It's all about using whatever fine ingredients you can use. Fuck, experimentation, just ingenious experimentation sometimes. Anyway, smells amazing. Smells like a cherry blossom. Sweet cherry, bitter cherry, chocolate, caramel, a tad of vanilla, no bourbon. But that's okay. Let's try the beer. Cheerio, good sirs and madams. That is such an easy drinking beer. 7% alcohol. Tastes like it's probably a 3 or a 4. Hell, it's easier to drink than Michelob Ultra. And I'm not talking about because of the taste, because Michelob Ultra is fucking disgusting super bubbles that just attack your throat and make you want to gag. Again, Michelob Ultra tastes like nothing, so you could drink it. Attacks your throat and makes you want to gag. This tastes like amazing, which makes you want to drink it. Doesn't attack your throat and make you want to gag, which makes it amazing. This is a very easy drinking 7% alcohol bourbon soaked cherry vanilla stout. How the fuck could you want more? How could you want more than what this is? Chocolate. You're getting tons of chocolate taste. You're getting tons of coffee taste. You're getting a nice roasted bitterness on the background. Lots of cherry. Touch of vanilla. Again, the bourbon not really there, but I've noticed, it's not just them, I've noticed that when you use bourbon soaked, it doesn't add all that much. It might up the ABV a little bit, it might add a few nuances to the taste profile, but really it doesn't add all that much. Is that a problem? No, it's not really a problem. I'm talking like I'm Italian, but I'm Irish, not Italian, but I got the hand talking going. Again, not really a problem. Saddening. I mean, I wish that I could taste more bourbon in my bourbon-soaked vanilla bean beer, but I don't. And them's the breaks. You have to accept it. It's not a fault in the brewer if more than 5 brewers have the same problem. And the cherry mixes so well with this. It does kind of taste just like what I was talking about earlier, the cherry blossoms. You're getting a beautiful chocolate taste, a velvety chocolate taste, mixed with some coffee, mixed with some roasty bitterness, mixed with a touch of vanilla, touch of toffee, and cherry. You're getting both sweet cherry and like bitter cherry, the rind of the, well, not the rind, the tannin of the cherry skins. It's a beautiful, beautiful taste. All in all, I really like this beer. I think it's a little lackluster in that it's not as robust as I would expect from what this says it is. Complex maybe is a better word. Not as complex as I would expect it to be. Is it a bad beer? Not in the slightest. There's nothing in this beer that makes me wish that I had chosen a different beer. This beer is exactly what I wanted it to be. It's great. It is great. Little lackluster. Great though. It gives everything it says it gives. I mean, yeah, the bourbon isn't really there, but the vanilla. See, and that's where it becomes hard, right? Because it's a bourbon-soaked vanilla bean. Well, vanilla is the main thing you're probably going to pick up from the bourbon anyway. It's not bourbon barrel aged, so you're not going to pick up the oak or anything like that. You're going to pick up the vanilla, maybe a bit of the toffee, and maybe a touch of alcohol. And do you want to get the touch of alcohol? No, you don't want to get that in this. You want this to be as super sweet and super beautiful as it is. So really, in the long run, I guess I got to stop taking away that the bourbon isn't there, because the two flavors I'd want to get from the... I just farted. Excuse me. I'm glad I'm not doing the scent right now. The two flavors I'd want to get from the bourbon are already in the beer, or the bourbon did add it to there. I'm not 100% sure. I mean, maybe the toffee came from the bourbon. Maybe the vanilla came from the bourbon and not the vanilla bean. Who fucking knows? I don't know for sure. But that being said, it's giving me the flavors I wanted to give. And I love that cherry flavor just emanates through my palate after I'm done drinking. It's a beautiful beer. If you're not a stout person, this is a stout that you could easily probably get behind. Because the bitterness is... the bitter, roasty stout the roasty stout bitterness. Only there for a few moments, only there in the background. The cherry flavor is beautiful in this, the chocolate flavor is beautiful in this, the vanilla flavor is beautiful in this. You know what, guys? I have to give you another 9.5. You know, actually, I'm going to take that back. I'm going to give you a 9. A 9 on the dot. I was going to give you a 9.5, but again, that lack of complexity, I have to take that into account. It's still a top tier beer. It's still one of my top beers. It's going into my top beer folder, which is actually at like 85 beers now. But 85 beers out of 2,700, 80 beers out of 2,700 getting a 9 and up isn't a shabby score. So you guys did great. 9 out of 10. Hopefully this brewer does some more stuff with you. I don't know what else to say. I got a stout strut now, so here we go. Off the camera and go to stout strut. Bye.